Hold on a second.
You left is to the right, the top.
Good morning, everybody.
How you
Or
doing?
good morning, good evening. I said good morning. Good morning, good evening.
You're okay?
Ellen. Tom and Ann, I don't see your picture here.
No? No? Okay. Where are we? Down at the bottom on the left side. Right here. Click that. There we go. There it goes.
There you are.
Gotta press all these buttons, you know?
How are you both?
Yep.
There's Michelle. Hey, Michelle.
Hey, Sam, how are you, friend?
Long time no see.
I know, since yesterday. Well, Sam just heard your voice. He's like, who's in the kitchen? Sounds like Zach. I'm like, yeah, he's on the video.
But how's he doing?
No, he's fine. That's good.
So Tom and Ann, where are you? Are you in like an office area?
We're in our little room. We put a background up.
That looks great. That looks nice behind you.
It's from the pine bush. It's a pine bush picture.
Which trail is that from?
I'm not sure. We have a bunch of them that we found. Then we put a screen up behind us. We got a one of those green screens. We got a green screen.
Hi, Stephanie. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Nice to see you. Nice to meet you.
Thanks. Good to meet you too.
Thank you for signing up to help us out with Cana. I appreciate it.
I'm happy to be part of something.
It's so do you know much about Cana?
A little bit, just kind of what Jack told me.
Been around since 1976, and the first chairs was Harold Rubin. He served for 20 years, and then Margie Skinner served for 5 years. And when so Howie was the vice chair under Margie Skinner, and when he took over as chair, he said he was going to do it for a year or two, and it was 20 years ago.
Oh,
So we're putting together, you know, it's been
that's how it works.
Yeah, 20 years. I mean, that's long for anybody.
Yeah, but I mean, when you love what you do, you know, when you like the work and you like what you're doing it for, you know,
It just the time just runs away. But he's been keeping it a citywide organization for 20 years. So
well, and you also get attached. You would get attached. You know, I've been doing some work for a nonprofit like the Pride Center in Albany, and I've been with that organization for almost 18 years.
wow.
You know, I've been on the board for about 4. You know, and I've done different things in between there, I've been on finance committee and a couple other things, and it feels like home. And I don't know what positions I'm going to do and how long I'll be in this position or that position, but I don't want to leave the organization.
Is Martha Harvey still the director there?
She is, and it's a little that the whole thing, all the nonprofits are struggling now. So
It's probably harder to raise funds.
it is. Yeah. And we couldn't have Pride this year.
Was there a virtual event?
They had some virtual stuff, but it's not the same. We have 30,000 people in Washington Park. You can't get that online.
That's a lot. 30,000.
Vendors, the food vendors, all that, the sponsors, the people in, marching and in the floats. It's all money that we weren't able to get this year.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
We have a Coach Carmen on. Coach Carmen, hi.
Hello, how are you?
Good. How are you? I'm Zach Simpson. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Unfortunately, my camera doesn't work.
Okay. Which looks like you're with an organization. Which one is it?
Mission Accomplished Transition Services.
Tell me
So
about it.
we provide career mentoring, coaching, and sponsorship for individuals between the ages of 13 to 35.
Tell you what, tonight, if you'd like the floor for a few minutes, you're more than welcome to talk about your organization with everybody. That sounds really, really interesting.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. You put me on a spot.
I know. I bet you know all about what you folks do. So
Okay. True.
great. Well, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
I'm happy that I was able to finally join.
Yeah, we've been meeting since May via Zoom because of COVID.
Yeah, I've seen notifications, but I wasn't able to join, so I'm happy that.
Great. Well, how now? Was it via social media, via email, or via?
I want to say it was Facebook. It could have been through. What is her name?
With the issue of COVID-19 in the region, much worse.
Julia? No, not Julia. It starts with a J. I get all her emails. Council member for one of the Uptown community.
Is it Judy Dochette?
Yes, Judy Doche.
Oh, great.
So she may have had the information in one of her emails. I read all of her emails, and she puts a wealth of information in there.
She does a thorough job, and she's going to serve out the rest of her term, I think, next year. She's not running again.
Oh, wow. Well, she'll be a good mentor for a lot of us.
We actually did a cleanup together. The Cooperative did with her at the Woodlawn Park, and it was a really great event.
Okay.
And, cleaned up the park, and then DGS came and did some more work on the park after we cleaned it up.
Okay.
Lan Ying. Hi, Lan Ying.
Hi.
Hi, how are you today?
Good.
Thanks for
Good.
joining us.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Where do you live?
Rosemont,
Rosemont. Very
Yeah.
nice.
the dead end, close to the park.
Very good. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, welcome. Thanks for joining us. This is your first time on.
Yes.
Oh, great. And how'd you hear about us?
I'm on the email.
Oh, you are? Great.
Yeah, so I know what's going on. I just never attended.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. We just got a few more minutes here.
Zach, what is considered Uptown? How far do you go?
So our program is 5 neighborhoods: Pine Bush, Eagle Hill, Melrose, Upper Washington, and Beverwick.
Okay. Okay. I'm by Center Square.
Oh, you are. Oh, great, great. You have a very good neighborhood association down there. Oh, what's the name of the lady that runs it? Is it Jackie Ring?
I'm not sure. I've moved back to the city 2 years ago, maybe 2 years ago. So I have been wanting to participate in neighborhood association meetings for quite a while. So I haven't learned who my person is. I really think that my house is Park South, not Center Square.
Which street, John?
I'm by Hackett Middle School. So Upper Dove Street.
Well, Mansion's further down. Probably Center Square. I think
Because
Center
Park
Square.
South starts at Morris Street, right?
Well, I'll check the map because there is a map on the Kano website
Uh-huh.
and also on the city website of the boundary lines. So
Okay.
So you're on the corner of Hackett.
Yeah. Hackett and oh Lord, I don't even know what that street is. The side street by the Delaware Ave Price Chopper.
No, it's not Park. It's I know what street you're talking about.
As long as we know how to get around, right? But yeah, it's that side street there. Now when I go home, I'm actually look because I should know what my side streets are. But
Great, we have some other folks joining us. Hi, Carol Carmen. Nice to see you. Hi, Andrea. Hi, how are you?
Hi. How are you?
Great, great. Is this your first time on?
Yes, it is.
Well, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. I'm eating, so I'm gonna come in and out.
Which neighborhood are you in?
Hmm?
Which neighborhood are you in?
Greenwich, Village in the Green.
Green. Okay, nice. Pine Bush. A lot of people joining us. Officer Biette, how are you, sir? Good to see you.
Good, Zach. How's everybody doing?
Good. All right. We've got Michael Burgess, community caregivers. Hi, Michael. Christy. Okay. Give it a few more minutes. The room is filling up. All right. Always good to see. Hey, Elaine.
Hi, how are you, Zach?
Great. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Got Kelly Hausler and Ryan. Hi.
Hey, Zach. How's it
How are
going?
you? Long time no see.
Long time no see.
Hi, Kelly and Ryan. Yay.
Yay.
I have no idea why my video is not working tonight, but hello everyone.
It's all right.
I'm a millennial, but not tech savvy enough to figure this out.
Change the name to Jack and Judy. What now?
How are you?
Hello.
Let's see. Gonna give a couple more minutes, everybody. Okay, just check it. Is Frank Zioli on yet? DGS? All right, I'm not seeing him yet. I'm gonna just send an email. All right, well, I guess we can get started. Hey, everybody. Thanks a lot for joining us tonight. I'm Zach Simpson. I am the founder and coordinator of the Uptown Neighborhood Cooperative. We are a 5-neighborhood-wide community collaborative, including Eagle Hill, Melrose, Upper Washington, Pine Bush, and Beverwick. And we get together once a month to collaborate with each other, share information, have invited guests, and always have public safety updates. So without further ado, I just want to introduce you to Michael Burgess. He is with Community Caregivers, an organization that's very important. And Michael, when you're ready, you have the floor to talk about your organization.
Thank you, Zach. Thanks for inviting me. And I also thank you again he spoke to a group of us involved in a project that I'm going to discuss tonight. But Community Caregivers is a nonprofit founded in 1994, and our office is in Guilderland, though a lot of us are not working from there right now. We've been providing services to help people stay living in their homes, aging in place. We have over 100 volunteers. In fact, there was a feature in the Capital Region Giving section today in the Times Union, that special section for the holidays on nonprofits. And we have, as I mentioned, over 130 volunteers who drive people to the doctor, who shop for groceries. And during the pandemic, we've had to obviously shift a lot of the in-person contact to doing some things over the phone. We have had a lot of reassurance phone calls by our volunteers. Some of them are out driving again now. But we've had to do other things because we're concerned about the folks who are living alone, older people in particular. And we've been doing some lunchtime chats where we've had speakers on different topics, like Jack McEnany talked about history, and we've had others talk about gardening from the Cooperative Extension. But all of our efforts are aimed at trying to provide a network for people to feel connected to a support system if they're living home alone, or even if they're not alone. But I wanted to particularly talk about today was the Village Movement, which is a national movement. You can go to this at vtv.org, Village to Village Network. Community Caregivers, our motto is neighbors helping neighbors. And though we actually predated this Village Movement, but some of you may know that this movement started in Beacon Hill in Boston, where people joined together in sort of a cooperative neighborhood association to help each other to stay living in the community and not and maintain independent living, and not be forced to have to choose for some kind of other institutionalized living. Obviously would not be their choice. So anyway, the Village Movement has been spreading across the country. Some of you may know the Albany Guardian Society, which is a nonprofit here, has been leading something called the Capital Region Villages Collaborative, where they've been trying to get village type services provided in different communities around the area. And so these villages have been popping up in Bethlehem. There's Bethlehem Neighbors now. Shenendahowa and Niskayuna are trying to do this. There's been some efforts in Guilderland. So some of us have been interested in Albany providing these types of services. And we've been meeting as a steering committee, and Chris Timber, who's one of our members, I don't know if she's on tonight, but she introduced us to Zach, and we've been exchanging communication, and he, as I said, appeared in one of our Zoom meetings. But I wanted to just talk with you about, just for a few minutes, about the Village movement, to mention that we do have a steering committee and a group that's moving ahead and planning different activities. And community caregivers sort of functions as a village right now. The only difference is that we don't have necessarily a membership. You know, these groups are grassroots, they're membership based. I mean, we have donors, we have supporters and all of that. But what we're looking to do is to help residents in the city of Albany who are interested in this concept to build this type of village type services and supports. And I know that many of you are doing great things in all of your neighborhoods, and that's why we felt that, you know, it would be helpful to share this concept and speak to you, and we've learned about what you're doing, which we think is great, and share that so that you know, the village we don't think can be for the whole city of Albany. I mean, we're a steering committee for the whole city, but we'd like to try it in some particular smaller neighborhoods, sections of the city, to see how this kind of village model would work. It involves three major things. One, of course, is the kinds of services community caregivers provides, which are helping people to go to the doctor or getting groceries and prescriptions. Maybe it's, you know, helping with mail or reading for people who can't always read their mail. A second thing is socialization. We do have, before the pandemic, we were having little social chats, you know, at a coffee shop or whatever. Not so much yet in Albany, but out in the other villages, this has been going on. And then we have educational programs. As I mentioned, we've been having these call-in programs on the phone during the pandemic on Tuesdays and Fridays, all of which are designed to help people to stay connected. So that's kind of the model that we're looking at. I mean, there's a lot more to it, obviously, and a lot of these organizations, when they get up and going and they get their tax exempt status and they're, you know, they get incorporated, and then they, Beacon Hill Village has a big budget. So a little steering committee here in Albany said, why doesn't Community Caregivers, which already has a nonprofit status and already is an incorporated organization, play the lead role in helping to do this kind of a thing? So we're interested in, as I said, in learning more about what you're doing, and if we can be helpful and work together, maybe this model would work in a collaborative like you have, and we can discuss that. We also, our volunteers, by the way, also do other projects, like we've been asked sometimes to provide rides to the food pantries here in the city of Albany. So we have volunteers at the St. Vincent's Food Pantry down at Partridge or near the College of St. Rose, where that parish is, and then at Monte Cristi. And one other point, and then I'll stop, is some of you may be familiar that there's a state-funded program called NORC, N-O-R-C, Naturally Occurring Retirement Community. This has been going on for many years, funded by the State Office for the Aging. And that is in the area that would be bounded by Whitehall Road over to New Scotland, over to, I think, close to Western Avenue and down from 85. In that area, they have to have a specific geography that identifies that the population has aged in place. There are so many people above the age of 60 who live there. So that has been going on there, and they provide a number of wonderful services. It's run by Jewish Family Services. But we would like to see that kind of model, though it wouldn't be state funded with all the regulations. It would be more grassroots. We'd like to see that in other parts of the city. So that's what our effort really is about. I don't know if you, Zach, you wanted to take some questions, I think, if people had any.
Absolutely. Does anybody have any questions for Michael about community caregivers? You can unmute yourself.
I had one. I can't see everybody, so I hope I'm not interrupting. My question for you is this. So what are you looking for in terms of specific help and involvement right now? Or is this more of a just a sort of connecting kind of a process at the moment?
Well, I think that, yes, it is a connecting process. At this point, we have a number of people who've expressed an interest in this, and they're serving on, the steering committee. And obviously, we got the referral for this group, so we're learning more about what activities are going on. But certainly, we want to see people volunteer to help their neighbors. And again, I don't assume that you aren't doing that already, but we want to see people step forward who would like to help and assist their neighbors, with older neighbors in particular, who need to be connected and helped to remain living in the neighborhoods. I mean, this is a pro-neighborhood thing, because we don't want people having to leave their homes until it becomes absolutely necessary that they can't live there anymore.
Martha, are you done? Did that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Mara, did he answer your question? Okay. Hi, this is Jack Gazage. If you could take a minute for some people here, I have know some of this answer, but there's sort of a spectrum of care, if I could say that, for people. There are visiting nurses, and there are health departments that visit people that meet certain criteria. There's health aid kind of things that come in and live with people, all the way up to these are all things that happen at a person's home, as opposed to being in more of a structured facility or community. So could you just spend a second? I think that people would benefit from understanding the different levels of care that can still happen in a person's home.
I'll try to. I'm glad you asked this question, because I failed to say that what we do is all non-medical. Obviously, we are not a medical. I just wanted to lay out, though, what you said is very important, because for people who are older, there's the healthcare system, which goes from all the things you've mentioned, visiting nurses and home care, and then some of the things we're talking about, which aren't medical, but do involve driving people to the doctor and so forth. Then there's the whole network of the aging world, which is the County Department for the Aging, which runs the, mostly not medical services, but they are senior services, home delivered meals, social adult daycare. And unfortunately, both of those services, while the adult daycare has had to close down, the congregate meals has had to close, but people can still get home delivered meals. They run a number of other programs. They run one called Expanded In-Home Services for the Elderly, ISIP, state funded, all of these. And that one is to provide someone to come into the home and provide some support, chores, helping out, as I said, with groceries or that type of thing. Our people are volunteers. Those people obviously would be working as part of their job. So there are a lot of, I know that CDPHP and I think it's Blue Cross, they actually contract with a company called Landmark, which some of you may have heard of in the medical world, where they are doing home visits for high needs people, because they feel that they want to know who's going to be going into the hospital too many times. And they've hired Landmark to target those people and to provide that kind of service. So there are a lot of things out there. And that's another benefit maybe of this village, is we could provide, we would like to provide healthcare navigators. One of the great things about working with older people, there are people, so many of our volunteers, and if you read the Times Union today, you'll see that so many of the volunteers are retired with experience as either nurses, they might have worked in the aging field, they worked for the state government, they worked as teachers. They have the knowledge to be able to help people in a lot of settings. And I'm particularly interested, having worked in the aging field myself, in healthcare navigation. People come home from the hospital. What do they need to know? What services do they need that will prevent them from getting readmitted? Many times they're discharged and we hear complaints, that they should have been given, they or their caregivers should have been given more support before they came home. So that's just a little part of the answer to your question, but I did want to say that that there's the healthcare system, the aging system, and then there's this neighborhood support system that we're trying to put as a floor underneath all of that.
That was the question I was getting to. So where does your idea fit into all these other things? That was my question, really.
Well, the idea fits in a very grassroots way as a volunteer force, okay? And it's what we're doing is non-medical and no cost, pretty much, other than being a nonprofit that needs to raise money. We don't charge people for any of this. Villages sometimes do have dues, but those dues would be more for social activities. If we put out a newsletter, or if we took a couple of years ago, I don't know if any of you were involved with this, but when the Spectrum Theater was open, we had a big movie showing there of a senior program, and we bussed people. The village didn't, but community caregivers and the Office for the Aging and others did. So those are the types of things that we think are possible.
Question, do you have a point of contact or a website? If somebody wanted to contact you?
Yeah, a couple things. For community caregivers, it's communitycaregivers.org on the web. If you want to read about the villages in general, there's, as I said, vtv.org. I hope I got that right. If not, you just Google Village to Village Network. But there's also, Google this, the Capital Region Villages Collaborative, which will explain all the villages in the area. And I think that's what CRVC.org, maybe. It's from the Guardian Society. And you can reach me if you'd like. My email is simple. At the office is michael@communitycaregivers.org.
What can we do during COVID?
That's an interesting question, because obviously there's limitations, but we have found more need, obviously, during this time. When it first started, we were really trying to help people. We even started to help them with, delivering groceries on a limited basis. I think that, helping people who are alone at home and don't get out is a very big problem. One of the things to keep hearing from people in the aging field is that it's bad enough if you get sick, but the people who aren't getting sick, they're getting very lonely, and quality of life is actually going down in ways that you wouldn't normally notice. But I've had friends tell me, I've had one of my cousins tell me that her father, who's very independent at 95, but she said, I've seen some decline in him since this started, So I think that there's things like that I think if somebody knew in your neighborhood, if you knew, like on my street here, I live in Bethlehem, but I know I have two neighbors. One's now in the hospital, and another, unfortunately, she passed away during this, not from the virus. But I think we need to keep checking on them. I know in the power outage, I went over and tried to knock on her door to make sure she heard me and that I could call her daughter, who I know. But we need to be doing these things because people are silently and sometimes suffering through this.
Hi,
And if you would
Michael.
like to volunteer with community caregivers, you certainly, we're always doing volunteer orientations. We have a whole system doing background checks about drivers and all of that we have to go through, but we have all of that, and we can, give you more information, and you can actually sign up for an orientation if you want to learn how to do it.
One more follow-on question. Sorry for dominating the conversation here, but do you make referrals back and forth with a more established licensed medical process? In other words, maybe a person, we're taking care of a person, and all of a sudden he or she needs more of the medical care. You make a referral to an appropriate, more structured healthcare system, or vice versa. They say, well, we're not really right for you, but community care is. Is there referral back and forth?
Yes, they do refer to us. I just spoke to a group called Touching Hearts at Home, which is also a non-medical group, but it's a paid service. There are a number of these, like Home Instead, and you see these advertised. So, there are those types of things. I should say, and I want to make this distinction, that community caregivers, obviously, as I said, has been up and running for 25 years. So we have our own system. And I'm talking about that when I say what I'm going to say here, but we want this to the village. What we do will be part of the village because we're sponsoring it. The village will be a project of ours. But what I wanted to say was that we actually do have a nurse on staff. So if somebody calls up and says, oh, I heard about community caregivers, I'd like to see if you could help my mother. We would send a nurse over to do an assessment, and she would say, you know, whether she felt we could provide our volunteers to do it. And I give you an example. A lot of our volunteers are older. They're not necessarily frail, but I mean, we can't be lugging lots of groceries into the house, or, you know, it depends on the volunteer, but we don't make them do that. You know, if they say, well, I can handle that, that's fine. But we have to just make an assessment of, you know, can we do the non-medical things that will help you, in addition to the fact you may be getting some home care visits as well.
Hey, Michael. My name is Ryan. I'm so sorry my video is just not working tonight. I was wondering, I think this is like a really great thing. It's so important in the community. Are you at all working with the Albany Medical College? Is community caregivers part of their service learning list?
What a great question. And the answer is yes. We have interns from Albany Medical College who do some assignments. Like we have a couple students right now who are doing calls to the isolated elderly as part of their service learning. We also have from the School of Social Welfare at Albany, we have another student, undergraduate, who is wait a minute, she might be in graduate school. But anyway, we do have relationships with students, and I really love this because I'm just amazed at the younger people getting involved in the gerontology field, or who want to, well, at least in the medical, you know, they need to have this kind of experience too. And quite often, gerontology is not something that medical students go into because it's not the one that pays the most. So the answer is yes, and we have a great relationship with them, and we actually participated in a project with them that is being written up that if you're interested in, I can get it for you. It was about medical information and how it's distributed and working with libraries that we were helping with.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, I actually am a medical student there, and I know all about the service learning program. And I was going to say, if you're not already involved with that, that would be like a perfect thing for you to get into. But I'm glad to hear that you're already on board with it.
There's a student named Michael Beauchamp who, I don't know if you know him, but he's recruited like 5 or 10 others to see if they're interested. So they're helping when they can.
That's great. That's awesome. Okay, good.
Can I ask all of you whether you have, as part of what you do in the neighborhoods, I mean, do you have knowledge of or aware of seniors who would need this type of service or help? Well, that's something we can work on then.
Oh, the question was, well, I'm sorry, Michael, the question was, we have seniors that could use the help?
Well, I mean, if people in their own neighborhood or in their block, if they felt that this type of project would be helpful to your collaborative or to your own neighbors, I'd certainly be interested, yeah, in providing brochures or materials or whatever.
I'm sure that there are people in my neighborhood that could use it, but I'm just not aware of them. Which is a wonderful aspect of your program to, you know, if we could find ways to kind of connect with those people. But I will say my father made it to 93, and it was only through the kindness of neighbors that he was able to age in place. So I just want to tell you how important your work is. What a blessing it was for my father to have people like you in his life.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I guess I should tie this up and say that I studied, aging, and I did a little lunchtime talk that we have on the phone one of the days I did it. And I talked about longevity. And the interesting thing is that the people who live the longest, I mean, some of it is obviously your genes, but the other part of it is that the people who are the most engaged, who are the most supported, who have a curiosity of life and a feeling of a purpose in life, that tends to be a predictor of, given that your health is good, that tends to be a predictor of longevity. And so this connection that we're trying to do, I think, is very important in light of that. So,
I have a question. I guess, I don't know, it was just, I think 2 days ago, my husband and I were talking about one of my across the street neighbors who it seems like suddenly he's needing a little more help than he was. And, we're starting to worry about him a little bit, and we were thinking, how's the best way to approach him on this? And, even my husband, offered to mow his lawn, oh, no, I'm fine. I'll be okay. But at the same time, it wasn't fine. You know what I mean? At the same time, we knew he needed help, and he really wasn't prepared to take it. But I don't know. I guess we're just gonna, keep finding excuses to go over there now and again. But it would be great to have him formally associated with a program like this. And we're not real close neighbors, but at the same time, when we see each other outside or whatever, we'll say hello. But now wintertime's coming and those opportunities won't come as easily. And I'm wondering, any suggestions for how to approach a situation like that?
well, I think you did, doing any kind of personal contact with, because obviously he knows you, hopefully, and trusts you. I think that's important. I don't know if you know any of his family or other connections that you could speak to anyone else.
No, there's not a lot of family.
Yeah.
Not a lot of family, really.
So the question would be whether he's affiliated with any other faith community or, is anything that he communicates within the community itself, belonging to anything, would be important. In a larger sense, I would just say that, the County Department for the Aging, this would, if I had known this a few weeks ago, and maybe it's still possible, Zach, but they did a number of drive-through flu clinics, and they did one here at the library, I'm aware of, and the county exec went, but they did it in like 9 or 10 locations, and they gave out a cloth bag, and it had a thermometer in it, it had some brochures in it, it had some sanitizer in it. I mean, I left that with one of my neighbors because I had an extra one. And I think, that type of thing, sometimes just leaving some materials, and maybe they're willing to do this if you have a spot in one of, and one or more spots in the 5 neighborhoods, and maybe they already did it. But I think it would be great if you wanted to see, and I could speak to the county director, Deborah Tano, if you know her, because they have been getting out and doing that during the pandemic.
Thank you.
Also, the Office for the Aging, or Department for the Aging, has something called New York Connects, nyconnects.org. That's supposed to be the entry portal point for anybody who has a question about, what someone needs to do when they need services. So if you call that number up, or go to their website, they will be the ones, like if somebody were to call from out of town and say, I don't know if my mother can stay living there, what do I need to do, or what kind of services? They would be able to tell you. Under normal times, they'd have, home delivered, they'd have congregate meals, home delivered meals. We'd have this social adult daycare, which I think is a great program because they get socialization and they do exercises and other things there. But that's a great place. So nyconnects.org is a statewide platform, but each county has its own link on that. I worked for the State Office for the Aging, so I know these connections.
I have a question. Well, actually, two. What age would the recipients of this assistance be? And how many hours, as far as volunteering, how many hours per whatever how much of a commitment would be required?
You're talking about for community caregivers, there's no age or anything. And the hours are all up to you. That's the answer to that. If you want to, if you get connected with a client and you want to drive that person to the doctor, every couple weeks or whatever, or if you want to call them on the phone, that's all up to you. We don't say, you must do 5 hours a week or whatever. We don't do any of that. The age of the volunteers or of the clients, again, most of the people we're dealing with are older people. Not all of them are. We have some people who are younger who have health problems or they're disabled. We try to, we serve whoever we can. So there's no age limit on that, but it tends to be older. And certainly, as I said, we like students and we like anybody else who has the time, who are mostly retired people. We get a lot of people who come to us who say, I just retired, I had a nice job, but now I'm bored. And this is how we pick up a lot of people. We get a lot of people who have been in a workday professional sometimes, or it doesn't have to be, and they're looking for something and they said, oh, I heard about that. I would really be interested in helping out with that.
Thank you.
One of the things a village would do, which I did at the library here, we did a workshop on meaningful retirement. What does that mean for people? You come in and we said, you got to have a plan, because if you will get, after the first few months and you're so happy you're retired, there are other things, whether you might have responsibilities with grandchildren, but if you don't, you've got to look at, do you want to be volunteering? Do you want to work part-time? What are your social connections? We kind of give people a sense of what it means to be retired. So that's another thing that we like to do educational programs on. I find it, I find that men have a harder time with this. I'm making a generalization here, but I think women are better at networking than men. And sometimes men, have had these jobs where they've been so busy all the time and they finish up and they seem to be always like wanting to be purpose driven as opposed to whatever. I mean, this is, don't say that I'm making too much of a generalization. It could be both, but I think men are very definitely, especially, we have more men who are caregivers than ever before, which is another issue. It used to be that in the aging field, 1 of every 3 people over 65 was a man. Now it's 42% because men are living longer. This is all a health thing. They don't smoke as much, so the heart, they got better medication. So there's an increase in the number of men who are either outliving their wives or who are taking care of their wives, and we need to do more programming on that.
Well, thank you very much, Michael, very much for joining us tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
So the next guest we have tonight is Frank Zioli with Department of General Services. Let me find Frank real quick. Oh, there's Frank. Hi, Frank. How are you? Thanks for joining us. I don't think you're muted. Oh, still muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yep. Hey, Frank. How are you?
There you go. Okay.
Good. Hey, thanks for joining us.
No problem.
Yeah, Frank, do you want to do a little demo of the neighborhood portal?
Yeah, so that's what I was asked to come and speak about. So let me give you a little background on what we did here. So I've been with the Department of General Services for about 23 years, and predominantly most of my time with the department has been constituent relations in one aspect or another. And I've done a lot of neighborhood meetings and stuff. And about 2 years ago, a new commissioner came in, and Sergio Panunzio, and he says, I want to meet the people. I want to meet the residents. So we went on a tour of the city and went to several neighborhood meetings. And what he heard and what I heard was that a lot of residents were not familiar with what was going on. They didn't know how to get information. The city's website has gone through several changes through the years, and it can be very large and have a lot of area to it, and it's difficult to find stuff. So in having a conversation with him, I said to him, I think maybe it might not be a bad idea for us to streamline and really speak to the neighborhoods when it comes to quality of life issues in our department, and maybe eventually in other departments too, where quality of life is the key. You go to the city's website, and the city's website is for residents. It's for businesses. It's for, everything is on there. And it's sometimes tough to navigate. Now, in the future, that's going to change. There's a new website coming, and hopefully it'll be a little easier to navigate. But in the meantime, we felt that we really want to make an easy way for residents to get information on quality of life issues directly. So here comes the portal. So we decide do something online where you can get information on all the quality of life issues up to the minute in real time. What we'd love for this to eventually be is people going to this site almost on a daily basis to see what's going on, what's new. All right. So I'd love to give you a quick little, tour of it. Can I share my screen?
Let's see here. Go ahead. Go ahead, Frank.
Okay. All right. So can you see my screen now?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Oh, yeah. Maybe I moved it. All right, I gotta keep it over here. Okay. So you can see the website, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So the way that it's set up is you want to try to do everything from the homepage. Obviously, a message from our mayor, a message from the commissioner, and right here you'll see the scrolling bar. That's a ticker that if there's some breaking news we want somebody to know about. There's a snow emergency. There's a snow emergency of some sort, or there's a storm coming through, and we want everybody to know. That is a good place where that would be done. And you'd see the information, and then you'd be able to hit click here, which would automatically now take you to the page which that information would be on. Okay. In this case, that takes you to the City of Albany's recycling website, which talks about the compost facility closing on the 13th. Okay. So it's a quick little hit. It's a ticker. It's there. It'll be helpful when there's snow coming or inclement weather or something. We want to try to use that. We then broke it in. So each of these boxes represents something, right? So starting here in the middle, you see city news. This is a spot that you can go to every time you go to the portal, take a look. You hit the button that says go to news and alerts. It then takes you to a news page. The news page has information on different things that are happening. It's things that are on here now. We did announced an Adopt a Tree program. We had a shredding event coming up. Talked about storm damage and outages when we did that storm damage, some reminders of what that was about. We did some work in Woodlawn Park we wanted people to know. And there's also here on the right-hand side, there's video news. Anytime DGS is in the news talking about a program or anything, we throw the link up there. We'll be adding maybe when there's some news articles in like the Times Union, we might be adding something maybe to the left of the page here for those things. But it's basically if there's something that was newsworthy that made the media put out there that we would have available. That way, if you didn't catch it on the Times Union, you didn't catch it on Channel 6 News or whatever. It's a story that we feel there's some benefit to know about to the public, for the residents to see. Going back to the main page, we have a section here called Keeping You Connected and Informed. Okay, basically DGS delivers. What this is this takes you to a form where you can put in your email address and your information so that when we do call a snow emergency, when we do have something major going on, we need everybody to know about a new program, something of that nature, we would send a quick email to you. This is one of the biggest sections, biggest things I wanted from this portal, because we want to tell you what stuff is going on, but how do we get to you? Okay. We can send neighborhood associations emails, and we do, and hope that they get it out to their listserv. But this is a good way for Joe Q public to get information on what's going on. And again, this may be snow emergency information. It could be this is the hazardous waste schedule for the year, or we've scheduled 2 shredding events we want you to know about, or we're going to be paving a street, and these are the streets we're paving this year. Whatever the information may be, we may want to send out emails to the residents directly. This is a email marketing account so that you can unsubscribe if you don't want to get them anymore. Kind of like a newsletter, but not necessarily. They're really more alerts and quick hits on things we want you to know, to drop you a line. Again, now going directly down to the right-hand side here, this section's the FAQs and information. So what this does is we get a lot of questions are asked of DGS. These are the main, let's talk about the main sections, the main topics: waste collection, recycling, snow plowing removal, forestry, streets, parks, property maintenance. These are just some of the highlights. By going to one of these areas, you click this button and it'll take you to a section that will actually have quite a few questions, okay, about trash, recycling, yard waste collection, waste collection is the FAQs. For example, how do I find out which day my trash is? You click the button, it gives you the answer, okay? In an event that there's something, and I'd like to see if I've got, okay, so does the city collect unwanted electronics and how do I dispose of them? So it goes in and explains unwanted electronics can be returned to retail stores which sells them. Fee may apply. For a list of locations, click here. There's a lot of links that are buried in here that you can click that will take you to another website, whether it's a city website, whether it's a state website, whether it's just an informational website. It makes it so that you don't have to go searching for that info. It answers your question. These are the ways to do it. Here's the way to go. It takes a lot of the well, I don't know where that is, or I don't know what that is, or where do I find it? It takes you directly to answer that question. That's extremely helpful, I think, and should work. We do have on the left-hand side here, if there is a question that's not listed there that you want to ask, again, not a complaint, not a but just a question about a program or a project, we ask you to send the question there. What we'll do, we'll respond back via email if it is good enough. If the question warrants it to be, and then we think it's something other people, we'll add it to this list, okay? And it's a good way of continuing on to add this list based on the questions that are out there. And then each one of these pages also has any brochures digitally that are that go with that topic. So it breaks it down to, these are all the ones. This is our waste collection brochure. It's one about putting your mattresses out and bed bugs, and another one on hazardous waste that is all there. So you click it, it opens it up in a PDF, and you can obviously download it from there. To go back, one of them that I think is kind of, we have committed to doing a lot of our brochures in multiple languages. So when you get to something like, let's say, snow removal and plowing, I probably should have led with that because it would have all been there. Not only is all the questions, but now here's our brochure in all of the languages that you can download. So English, Spanish, and it goes on. There's a whole bunch and a few others. So it's all right there. You can click it. It'll open it up as a PDF. You can download it. You can print it, whatever you want to do. So the FAQs really give you a really good idea to answer questions. The next button or the next box going down is all of the DGS codes. These are the codes that DGS focuses on: property maintenance, recycling, yard waste removal, construction debris, snow. The good thing about these is if you find one, right, it'll explain what the code is. If you click this button here, it'll take you to the generalcode.com that talks about that code. So it gives you all of the words, word for word, of what that code says. Again, no guesswork. You're able to see it right on. The next two boxes are just things we want you to know. We have a YouTube page. You can subscribe to the YouTube page. You can click it. It'll take you to the YouTube page. We're slowly trying to do videos of informational videos and things that we're trying to, come into the 21st century with that, I guess. And then here we put, there was a video we made about the census. Technically, this is over now. We probably can take it down, but I did leave it up there for a short period of time. Moving to the middle, this is a quick button for you to get to SeeClickFix. Everybody knows about SeeClickFix, hopefully. It is a great way to talk to the city about an issue that you have, a concern. By clicking this button, it takes you immediately right to the Albany SeeClickFix page, makes it very easy to access it. You don't have to go to the separate website. It takes you right there. Same thing, this is a section to report potholes and depressions are #1 on people's lists. It can also be done through SeeClickFix. It actually takes you to SeeClickFix, but it kind of pre-populates some stuff in there. And the next program that we put on here was the Adopt a Tree. We just relaunched a new program where the mayor announced we were going to plant 2,025 trees by the year 2025, street trees. And we are looking for people to adopt or sponsor or give to a designated fund to help us do that. This button here will take you to a separate web page that we set up that has all the information on that. But again, accessible from here. The idea is we don't want you to have to remember a million websites. Eventually, I have a feeling this will still take you to the city's website. We're hoping the city's website can do a lot of this in the future. But right now, there's a lot of stuff that this goes to, and including other places and other links. We have a Facebook page at DGS. Again, this will take you right to it. You can like it. And then we put things on Facebook all the time to keep you up on what's going on. And then going all the way to the left-hand side of the site here, these are all different website links that take you. City's website, Albany Recycles, Adopt a Tree, the city's events website, as well as the county website. Just quick hits just to be able to go right to it. And then this next section is probably one of the things next to giving us your emails that I find the most beneficial. We want you to be able to be interactive, and it's just going to get more interactive as the time goes. Since COVID has hit, it has forced the city to do a little bit more online everything, okay, and data collection, so on and so forth. I'd love to see eventually surveys when we're doing a project, putting a survey on here, explaining what it is, getting input from people, making it truly interactive. But where this starts is the very first one, host a neighborhood cleanup. There's a form. You click here. Again, you open this up. You hit this. Learn more. Takes you to a form. You fill it out. You talk about, I want to have a neighborhood cleanup. I need rakes, brooms, shovels, trash bags, trash collection. You put all the info in it. You hit submit. It goes to the proper person at DGS that will then get back to you and say, okay, we can give you what you need, or we can't give you, or whatever. It takes away, who do I email? Who do I call? They didn't call me back. This really does work. And I think that, Zach can probably tell you, he sent me an email last week because you were holding a neighborhood, going to do some sort of a cleanup. And he said to me, I said, here's the form, fill it out. Request meeting attendance for something like this. You want myself, the commissioner, somebody to come and speak. This is just, again, it goes directly to somebody who schedules this. It just makes it so that you're not calling, sending an email and it gets lost. These get looked at. Somebody's on top of this all the time, and that way they can get it where it needs to go. Streetlight change or request. That recently was taken out of DGS's hands and is being dealt with because we bought city bought the streetlights. There is a website that you go to do that. But again, it's on the city's website. It moves over, but this is just a quick link to get there. And then the same thing to register for hazardous waste. That's always been an online registration. This is just an easy place to be able to go and do it. Applying for permits. These are 3 permits that DGS has currently now. All this will do, you go into these, you download the form. We are working hopefully by probably early first quarter next year to have this as an online form so that you can at least submit those forms. You may still have to send in your application fee, send it in. We haven't connected to a credit card yet, but you may still have to mail in the check, but at least the application comes in digitally and you don't have to handwrite and do all of that. So we're working on that. But currently what these three do is give you information on these three permits, what you need, and you can download the forms very easily and do what you got to do. And finally, the all-encompassing got a question. It's a direct link to an email. We've got somebody that's on top of this email address that they're just making sure they're there to answer questions. So we want to add more to this as time goes on. As it says here, Albany is a city of neighborhoods, and this is definitely neighborhood centric. It's a situation where we want people to say, well, what's going on there? Let me go to the albanyneighborhoods.com, go to the portal, and hopefully we can put more information and constantly keep it up. We had to close the Woodlawn Park down not too long ago because we were doing some work there. I put something on this right away. The city's website has news and alerts, and we can put it there as well, but it's a little more difficult to get. We want people to be able to get to this. Now, in the future, when I think this website gets changed, that may change, but right now this is the way to go. So I guess I kind of explained really every section of it and what it can do. Who has questions? No questions?
I just want to say, this is Maura. I just want to say, wow, that is a totally excellent website. And also, I know this isn't exactly the forum for it, but at some point, Zach, can we put that Adopt a Tree program on our Uptown neighborhood, the cooperative agenda? Because that is like super cool. That would be really great to be involved in, I think.
Absolutely. No, that's great.
And Maura, I got to tell you that you and I think Katina's on this call as well. The two of you were inspirations for this portal. It was the Melrose Neighborhood Association meeting that Sergio and I went to that kind of this was inspired for. You made comments about how there was projects going on that you didn't know anything about. And we started asking, I always say to people, I don't necessarily know I don't have all the answers, but at least I feel like I asked the right questions. And one of the things that was said was we truly weren't providing the information as we needed to. So there were several things since that first meeting that we've done in the department to better inform people. And we've got some great ideas moving forward that I think are really going to help. But this portal is what was born from those ideas, that we need to communicate directly with the residents better. And in this case, everything that DGS does, I'll tell you, public safety does fall into what we do, but what we do more than anything is quality of life. So this is why this was born. So thank you, Maura and Katina, for giving us the idea.
Wow, that's so nice to hear. Thank you so much. And thanks for all this amazing effort. It's so cool.
Can I ask a question, Peg Harrigan? Frank, is this online? If I were to go to the Albany website, would I find the portal tonight?
Yeah, I believe that there is a link from the Albany website. I'm almost positive there is, but it's albanyneighborhoods.com. Go to albanyneighborhoods.com right now, and it's online.
Excellent, thank you. Great idea.
And again, there's buttons where you can communicate. You can send emails with questions. You can send emails, just emails. Please, by all means, if you see something you'd like to see, you have ideas, send us an email with that information right from the portal. And also sign up for email alerts, because we're moving into the snow season. And if I had everybody's email that's on this call, put it in there, then I can send, when we go to send out emails about snow emergency being called, you'll be the first to get it.
Great.
I think Katina has a question.
Yeah, thanks, Zach. Thanks. I want to also say thanks to Officer Wallace and Officer Biet for handling the situation at 51. Mr. Zioli,
yes.
I like the portal, but I need the follow through, because the tree since October 7th, and you know which tree I'm talking about. No one's been out to see anything.
Oh no, we've been out. I've got pictures. We've been out. I went out myself personally, but you weren't there. We are working on that.
Okay.
And if you want to give me a call tomorrow, I'd be more than happy to explain what we did.
Okay.
We've had some other things going on. It's not that, but it is definitely something I've got the file right on my desk. So, and that's one of the other things that we're working on. Not everybody on this call is home all the time. Nobody's home all the time. I don't care what you say. You go to the doctors, you go to the grocery store, or you're in the back sleeping, or you're watching television, you don't hear us come up. We're not going to come to the door too much with COVID-19. We do need to leave door hangers, and that's something that we have to perfect a little bit more. We have them. Some of the guys come, they inspect. You and I spoke on the phone, Katina, and I went there myself. Also, Jay Levine went there. I've got all the info. If you want to give me a call tomorrow, we can discuss it.
Okay, I appreciate that, Frank. And I'm in error because I thought no one was there. My daughter is home all the time. She didn't notice it, but I do think in that instance, like you're mentioning, door hangers would be a great idea in this COVID age, just because that way I'm not saying, oh, no one's been there and there's a lack of, communication. And maybe in the porthole itself, if you had there might be some way like, oh, we give a update. We went there at X time.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that's personal between you and the city. You don't want that. Hey, I don't want to put it on the portal, but yeah, definitely. I think that more and more we are looking to do that with door hangers, or if email addresses are given, sending follow-up emails that, yes, we got to you. But you can imagine that the amount of people, the amount of places we look, door hangers are easier. Sending an email may take several days to get that email out to you because it comes back. You got to send the email, you got to compose it, you got to send it. Let's just say they look at 40 properties a day. They got to go back and write 40 emails. How many hours is that going to take? And that person's not only just sending emails. So we got to think of a way that's not is kind to your time and is considerate to our time to be able to do this. So door hangers are definitely something. And I do think, again, more emails too. I mean, when you give your complaint, we have your email, we can email back and say, hey, this is what we did. So what we did, what we're going to do. So.
Well, now, Frank, when the city's website, because the city's website is essentially not as easy to navigate as this, will this be on the web? How will this?
It will integrate it. We'll integrate it somehow, but we'll integrate it somehow. It may stay exactly like this, but just be housed on the city's website. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Right now, this is what we've got until we get to a different spot. We're not going to give it to you and then take it away from you. That's not going to happen. We want you to continue to use it. More than likely, that AlbanyNeighborhoods.com will not go away either, even if it's integrated into the city's website. It'll still be there. So you can remember AlbanyNeighborhoods.com. Take it. It'll take you right to there, and then that'll go from there.
Okay, and then finally, this came up. The recycling, the compost bags are not being picked up, or after the 13th, correct?
No. And this is where having your email addresses are good. And reading this, if you look at it all, it says the compost facility, and the next line says, but yard waste collection will continue. So people just need to read the next line, because we've been saying that, but we put a clarification out to everybody, because the minute we set that out, people were like, wait a minute, but the yard waste. And we're like, okay, read the next line. It said the yard waste will continue as planned. Compost facility is down there is for people to come and purchase mulch, compost, people to get it for free when they're residents. We have commercial customers that come in and bring and buy, and that sort of thing. That's where it does. The collection really has very little to do with the compost facility as far as the operation of the daily compost facility. We do our thing in the compost facility. Nobody has to be there. It doesn't have to be open for that. So yard waste is still being collected. Maybe not directly on your collection day, only because it was very heavy this year. So the amount of people, so for example, let's just say, and it's good that I have a group I can explain this to. There are, let's just say in a given route, we have, in a given night, there are 4 routes, let's say that you do, and you have a route and there's, 200 houses you're going to hit in one route. Okay. If you can only get to 15 houses have to go and dump, another 15 houses and go and dump. That's what's happening. There's more leaves and bags being put out because people are home than ever before. So as a result of that, it's taking us longer to collect. What I say, do not bring your yard waste in. Leave it out. We will get to it. We are putting Saturdays in, sometimes Sundays. We're working early the next day. So the guys usually pick it up between 3 and 11. We've got people coming in earlier in the afternoon. So it is getting done I ask people to leave it out there. We will get to it.
What's your final question? What is your drop dead date, or do you have one for yard waste?
There isn't a drop dead date for yard waste. What we do is we take a look at the trees, how much is really still on the trees, and when the first snow falls, when the snow comes. The minute we start, we move into snow. It's important to remember the department has a certain amount of very hardworking men and women, but it's not like you've got ones that you were hired to do just yard waste. You'll only work during yard waste and that's it. That group does everything. So, they're different crews and they work on different things. They do have specialties, but the same people who are doing yard waste also will be plowing the snow. So once the snow hits, we'll pretty much stop, but we'll probably go well into the month of December collecting.
Okay, thank you very much, Frank.
You're welcome.
Wow, that's a miracle.
Collecting what?
That's a miracle I found that.
Anybody else?
Yeah, a question, Frank. It's not necessarily related to the portal. Could you just give a brief update about the changes in the trash collection fee, which...
The ones that were just passed?
Yes.
Yeah, to be quite honest with you, Mike, I don't have a lot of that information on me right where I am. So I would rather not speak to it tonight because I can't really do it justice.
Okay. I just say something briefly. It basically changes the structure of the penalty. The penalty used to be 50. The fee was $90 per unit, and the penalty was 50. So now the penalty is the fee is going to be collected in sync with the calendar for collecting city taxes, and the penalties are only going to be proportional to what they would have been on your city tax bill.
Right.
So, and I thought maybe there might even be some clemency from some of the fees from this year because of the circumstance.
Yeah, I'm not 100%.
That's the big change with it.
Yeah, I wasn't 100% sure. I didn't come prepared to speak for that. I hate to open up a can of worms and start talking about something that I don't have all the facts on. We did, again, it was passed. It's a citywide thing. It has a lot more to do with the financial end of it than it does the operational end of it. So if I had known that was something on the table, I would have come prepared with a lot of answers and questions. But I guess what I will say is that go to the portal, go to the email, send an email with your questions, and I will make sure we get back to you with answers if you have questions about that.
Okay.
Frank, I did get a couple of questions from the Melrose Neighborhood Association.
Okay.
Could you ask Deputy Commissioner Zioli if the city will repair Breviter, which is in terrible shape?
I will take note of that, and it is. It does need some work. I don't know. It would not be anything that would be done in-house. For Breviter to be repaired, or not repaired, but to be replaced would need to be done through an engineering project. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a conversation with Randy Milano, the engineer, and just see where that might be on the list. How's that? And I can maybe send back an email. Zachary, I'll send an email to you, and then you can get it out to everybody else.
Great. And the other thing was just they were mentioning that a second tree fell on a house on Terrace, just opposite where the previous tree had fallen.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess you could talk about what's being done there.
Sure, I absolutely can. So got a call on Sunday that the tree fell across the street from where the tree fell a few weeks ago. I headed right out myself personally, and I looked at it. I talked to a few residents and assured them that we were coming up with a plan, that we had already started working on a plan, but again, it was a 2-week period between the storm and then the second tree coming down. As of this meeting, okay, there's maybe 14 trees on the street, 7 of them are being removed, okay? So what's happened is they're not all dead. And that's an important distinction. It's not that we've left 10 or 7 or 8 or 10 trees on the street that were dead. It has to do a lot with our city forester, who was a certified arborist, had to explain this to me the way that he did. He says they actually work as units because the canopies grow together, and the way that they do, if you take one tree down or one falls, the others are vulnerable to the wind and to elements. And that's exactly what happened. We took one down. We thought we'd have time. There was no wind really that night at all last Sunday, but whatever little wind there was, it was atypical. It came from, it was a fluke. But unfortunately, it took that tree down and it went on somebody's house. So if you were to drive over there right now, you would notice that I think 5 out of the 7 trees that we've identified have already been removed. The other few trees that are left are going to be removed on Monday. And then there's another 4 trees that we are going to look at. If one of the 4 trees is damaged, and it's, when we say damaged, there's a part of the tree that they have to go all the way up that he explained to me. He's got to go high on the tree with a bucket to inspect. If it has any damage, the other 3 trees have to come with it too. So basically that part of Terrace will not have any trees on it. Okay. What we've been told is that what we are thinking that those trees are close to 100 years old. Okay. By his estimation. So it's going to look very different on that part of Terrace, but it is very important that the safety comes before aesthetics. Trying to save them is nothing that we can do. And unfortunately, we're gonna replace, but unfortunately, it may be a little barren for a little while until we can.
I haven't heard anything tonight.
And what we will be doing for the residents is we probably will be we'll be talking to the residents as a whole about what trees they'd like to see planted in front of their homes. So, Are you muted?
Again, another thing went out of her mind. Oh my.
You have any questions? Whoop.
Well, there you go.
Zach, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I just heard or read something recently about lead pipes, and I went down. That reminded me that I have a lead pipe. Does the city have a program for testing how much lead is in your water, or what do you do?
I would refer you to the water department on that. DGS has no jurisdiction or any responsibility for water or pipes. So I wouldn't have any of those answers, but the water department would probably be a good spot to call. Their number is 518-434-5300, I believe.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Frank, I have a question. So through through the cooperative, we've been reporting some stuff with C-Click Fix, like sidewalk repairs. So when a panel is added to like the replacement list, can you tell me like what happens after that, like kind of like timeline and whatnot?
Well, it's going to depend on, it depends on a lot of things. You know, obviously we get a certain amount of sidewalk complaints a year, and we have to make sure that, you know, one of the things we look at is that street going to get done soon. You know, if it's going to get done in a relatively short period of time, the next year as part of a street project, you know, we may hold that and wait until that's done. We look at, you know, first and foremost, we're going to fix tripping hazards immediately. We're going to go out, we're going to put something on that sidewalk panel that's going to make it so that the tripping hazard is taken away. It may not look good. It may not be, it's not a permanent solution, but it'll get it there until we can get there and replace it. Obviously, you know what, there's economies of scale. If we're doing a couple, we can get to them a little quicker. We're doing there, you need more than 1 or 2 or 3, maybe 5 or 10. You may need to get that as part of a project, and that the planning needs to get done. So what we are going to do, if we get a C-Click Fix for a sidewalk, the first and foremost, we're going to make sure it's safe. We're going to fix any tripping hazard that there is, whatever that might be. There's a sand mixture we use. Sometimes blacktop is used. Something gets used to fix it. Then it gets put on a list. There's the severity of it. If it's really bad, again, we look at what we have to do, and then we will schedule. With COVID-19 this year, not a lot of sidewalk panels got done because of the budget crunches that the city was facing, but we did do some did get done. Obviously there's areas where we have to put them in because there's safety, something happened that we couldn't repair or fix a tripping hazard, so you have to go in. They may get done a lot quicker, but stuff that can be planned, we try to plan out a little bit better. Because what ends up happening, you fix 1 or 2 or 3, and then all the neighbors around say, well, what about me? What about me? Mine could use it too. It's better to have a plan and plan it out. It's better for the tax dollars we're spending. It's better for the residents to only be inconvenienced once. And that's one of the reasons why we do it. So again, the first thing we're going to do is fix the tripping hazard, and then we take it from there.
Great. Does anybody else have any questions? Well, Frank, thank you for your time tonight. I really appreciate you joining us, and we hope to see you back sometime soon.
You're
You know, let us-
welcome.
let us
You're
know if there's
welcome.
any updates.
And please, everybody, look at the portal, sign up for the email alerts. Snow is coming, and we want to make sure that everybody's got it. You know, everybody is got to know. They all know what's going on when it's happening. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you so much,
All
Frank.
right.
Appreciate
Happy
it.
Thanksgiving to everybody. All right.
Thank
Thank you. Bye.
We have, thank you for the patience. I have a couple of the Albany Police Department officers here, Officer Wallace and Officer Biet. If you both would like to give a little update, you want to go first, Officer Biet?
Sure.
Thanks for joining us.
So one of the things briefly, I just want to touch with Tina about 51 Melrose. We did follow up as much as possible that we could with that, even went as far as contacting probate court. The house still hasn't been turned over to the city or the county yet. It should be any time now. It's probably in litigation right now for the 3 years tax stuff, but we could not find anyone. I know someone had mentioned over there about a judge having something to do with it, but when I contacted probate court, they had nothing down there in relation to the house other than the passing and the will that was registered through probate. So we're still waiting, trying to get more information on that. I don't want you to think that we were there, just kind of got it secured, and that was the end of it. We've still been trying to get some kind of information as to ownership of what's going on with that house. Second thing I just want to mention is Uptown. There's been a huge tick right now in car larcenies and larcenies themselves. So please just don't leave anything in plain view in your vehicles. Make sure everything is locked. If you have to leave things in the vehicle, please lock them in your trunk. A lot of car larcenies. We do have one suspect that's under investigation right now. I can't go into further because I haven't picked him up yet, but he definitely is responsible for quite a few of those. Another thing that we saw is trending right now with Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist and sites like that is people are meeting up with others to buy products when they're quickly turning into a robbery. So if anyone's in the buying business here of looking on those sites to purchase products, please try to do it in a safe spot. I know we put something out for a meeting place to show up at the police lobbies. We've got no problem with someone coming into the lobby to see a product or do an exchange there. We won't assist with that purchase or transaction, but at least it's a safe spot for you to go to make that exchange if it is something that you're looking to do. So let me get on to some of the bigger things that happened this past month. On Washington Ave, we had it was known to the victim. 3 people went into his apartment. They did assault him and they did menace him with a firearm, so with a rifle. All those parties that were involved were picked up and arrested in that incident. We had a shooting over in front of the Pine Hills Market. Was all caught on camera. That's under investigation. They did not pick up the suspect yet in that incident. He did fire some rounds in the air, and they are investigating that. Did have another shooting a block over on Madison. I'm sorry, not Madison. Well, from Madison and Hamilton on Ontario as well. 18 or 19-year-old suspect shot a 15-year-old. 15-year-old was transported to the med. 2 weapons were recovered. Suspect was arrested in that incident. We had another call down at Quail in Washington, Quail Bradford area, where a passerby noticed a male with a handgun, called in. We had officers that responded very quickly, were able to apprehend him and get that weapon as well. Another shooting that happened at Hamilton and Ontario again, where shots were fired. Officers in the area heard it, were able to close quick and make an arrest and get another weapon off the street in that incident as well. That's pretty much the big issues that happened this past month. If anyone has anything that they want to inquire about or any questions, go ahead and fire away.
Katina has her hand up.
Hi, Katina.
Sorry again. No, thank you both for your efforts with 51. I was told, I just want clarification on this. I was told by the county and building and codes that it's headed to auction because of tax arrears. Is that?
Right. So what happens in the city is after 3 years of non-pay for taxes, then the city will turn the property over to the county. That litigation does take a little bit. Once the county possesses the property, then it's going to be up to them if they want to auction it off, sell it outright, or turn it over to the land bank properties, and then go from there. But until that happens, we're kind of in limbo because the city will say, well, we don't own it. If I couldn't find a mortgage on the property either. So sometimes if there is a mortgage, then the mortgage company says, hey, we don't own that yet because it hasn't been forfeited or foreclosed on, just as of yet. So we're kind of in a spot here trying to find this owner of this property, which is odd because no one has information on the house at all. And I was shocked that probate didn't have anything listed on the house because they had the will that was filed through probate court as well. So we're still trying. Just bear with us, and as soon as I get further on that, I will reach out to you.
Let me back up on that because now, and not to take up any more of your time, but I was told there was no will filed. And when we searched for the will and surrogates, we never found the will.
Yeah, probate did have a listing for it, but that's, they're not going to give me a whole ton of information.
Okay.
So we're trying a couple different avenues. So as soon as we do get further, like I said, I will let you know. I'll keep you posted on what's going on.
Let me, if I could, officer, just because it's been a problem child from the get-go. So even if there's a will, until the property taxes are satisfied, at some point, if the property taxes aren't satisfied, then it reverts to the county, correct?
Yep. And then the county will give, if someone comes forward, the county will give them time. If their intentions are keeping the property, the county will work something out with them to get the property taxes caught up to date. And then, they can maintain and keep ownership of the property.
Thank you for all your clarification, and thank you guys for what you did. And we'll just continue to keep our eyes on it.
Yep. Any issues, just call us.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So let's see, Officer Biet, can you just mention which neighborhoods you cover?
So I'm kind of what my area is called the Zone 12. If you went to the department website and clicked on departments, the police department, we do have a map there with our whole neighborhood engagement unit, and it breaks down what they call zones. So I'm in Zone 12. I cover everything in Zone 12. Officer Wiles covers everything in Zone 11. And we work together. We cover Uptown and our offices together. We share an office, and we always try to do things together. So if one of us is not here, we're both in the loop with situations or incidents, so we can kind of help each other out. I can't, I'm sorry, Jack, I can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry, Officer Wallace, would you like to give an update as well?
Everything is good so far. Danny pretty much covered everything that needs to be gone over. Zone 11 has been quiet for the last month. I didn't print out a crime report. I think Danny pulled it up with his tonight. We didn't see anything that really popped out other than what he went over. If anyone has anything for me, they can ask me.
I got a question.
Yep, go ahead.
Just out of curiosity, what happens to a juvenile when they're caught with a weapon without a license, obviously? What usually happens?
And go ahead, Dan.
So the juvenile gets caught. Juvenile will be taken down to Children and Family Services unit. With the laws that have changed now, juveniles will be charged differently. They won't be charged necessarily as an adult. depending on the circumstances or the crime involved. And then that's handled with juvenile detective unit and down at family court. Again, unless it fits criteria for an adult charge. And with the law changes now, I'm not even going to start to try to go into all that and give you wrong information, but there still are some charges where they can be tried as adult, but a lot of it has changed.
I have a question. Zach,
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Zach, I have a question.
Go ahead, Tom.
I'm gonna beat a dead horse here. It's the drag racing on Washington Avenue Extension.
Oh, they put me up. Oh, good.
Yep.
And
That was amazing.
neighborhood I'm in and the
You
dunes
never know what's gonna happen.
are affected by this drag racing that continues. They've started at 8 o'clock on Friday nights. I don't know if they're shutting down Washington Avenue through traffic. They're drag racing to the west side by the Italian American Center. They start at 8 o'clock and they run till 2:30 in the morning.
Okay.
I called and I think they sent a police car down, but they come right back within the hour. And I don't know if anybody's following up on this or not, but
Yeah, it's
I bring it up
difficult.
again, if there's anybody here from the Dunes neighborhood or from Pinehurst Boulevard neighborhood where we are, something eventually is going to happen here.
Right. I know it's been an ongoing issue. And I know they kind of monitor our radio as well. And I know that calls have come in, guys have gone out there. I'll try to reach out to the traffic unit and see if they can do any kind of detail out there. But what gets difficult is when people do call in and dispatchers put it out over the air. If someone's monitoring, which I think they are up when they're trying to do these drag races, by the time our units get up there, you know, they're aware that the call went out and they shut down shop, leave.
Yep.
Officers come out, check things out. Hey, it all looks good. And then they're back to patrol routine, answer calls. And like you said, an hour later, they'll start back up again and we go through the same routine again. So let me talk with them and see if there's any kind of thing they can do where maybe it's more discreet, not put over the air. Because I do know it's been an issue, and I know it's the midnight crew is getting frustrated as well. You know, hearing things, getting out there, trying to get out there at the right times when it is happening is become a little bit difficult. The way whoever's handling this or running it is finding out that the officers are on the way and they are shutting it down.
Right. I think they have spotters.
Yeah.
This is a very organized group of people.
Yeah, and it's not young kids. It's not young kids that are doing it.
These are trailer drag cars that are put down for money. So they found that they can do this out here in Washington Avenue. And you know, I know you're busy. I know you're all busy.
No,
the department's always busy. So
yeah,
I'll
I'll definitely bring it to some attention this week, and see what can be done. And then if you could send me an email, if you don't mind, if you could send me an email, Tom.
Okay.
And just put in there again the times. I'll list my email right now in the chat here so that you'll have it. And in that way, I could take that to traffic lieutenant, and I can even let my lieutenant know if he's not still on, and we can try to see if there's something we can do for up there. Maybe we get our own spotters up there, run a detail where it's not going out over the air for everyone to see, but maybe on a secure channel when our guys are going to head out that way. But I know everyone's frustrated, and I know our men and women are as well, trying to get it to an end here.
We also had a second group that started up in the corporate circle down by the new Stewarts.
Okay.
I don't know if you heard anything about that or not, but they were down there one time. I called about that too, because it echoes through the whole neighborhood.
Sure.
Really, really heavy.
Down that way, are they going into corporate circle, or are they out on
Corporate circle is part of the city of Albany.
Okay.
And I talked to the dispatcher and she told me, no, it was Guilderland, and I called Guilderland, and Guilderland said that they had already called, the city police department.
Yeah.
Because they got complaints in Guilderland.
Okay.
So,
all right.
But you know, I know you guys are busy, you're tied up. I just wanted to mention it again.
No, I appreciate it. And I'll see if there's anything we can do to try to work something out. Cause I know it's been going on, and I know guys have been dispatched out there, and they get out there and, you know, they don't have anything to go on because, you know, they shut down shop, take off, and then come
Yeah.
back. It's like a game they're
Yeah,
playing with
I-
the spotters and people listening. It
Right.
becomes difficult for our crew to get out there.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Hello, excuse me.
Hello? Can I ask a question? He's muted.
Go ahead, we can hear you.
What was I gonna- the police officer didn't say the neighborhoods that he's responsible for. Could he say that?
Yes, he did. The number.
Oh, I'm sorry. So basically we go by zone areas. I'm responsible for zone 12, Officer Wallace is responsible for zone 11. And so I cover Uptown. Basically, I cover from Western Avenue, all the way up Western Avenue, including out to the extension on the north side of Western Avenue from the point at Central and Washington and Western at Henry Johnson. And I just go right out west to the city line.
And what about Washington Ave? Who covers Washington, Brevitor Street?
Yep, that's me. I go right out past. Yep, that's me.
And what is your name again? I'm sorry.
Danny Biette. B as in boy, IETTE.
Okay, and I just have just another personal question.
Sure.
My handicapped thing in my car is coming up due, and my doctor sent me another letter. Can I send it in, or do I have to appear in person?
Let me find out. I know they moved, our ASB moved out to Washington Ave Extension where the old Cross Gates restaurant is up there.
Oh,
So that's where you would have to go if you have to go in. But do you have access to email?
yeah.
Okay. If you look on the chat here, I posted my email up there. If you just want to send me an email, your name and a contact number, and I'll find out for you this week, and I'll give you a call and let you know what you have to do.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
That's good.
Gotten a plenty of information tonight. So if anybody has nothing else, I just want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, and just be safe. And we're going through an uptick with COVID, and I just want everybody to be careful and try to have a good holiday this year. And 2021 can't come soon enough. So just want to say thanks everybody for coming tonight, and we'll see you soon. Okay. See you next month.
Have a good holiday.
Thanks,
Zach.
Thank you.
Thanks, Zach.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.